This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The United States is a nation, mostly of people descended from, or who are, immigrants. Of the over 330 million people who live in the country as of 2021, about 16% of them claim some German heritage, which is more than any other ethnic group. This is surprising, considering the nation was founded primarily by English colonists, and whose Irish-descended population is greater than the population of Ireland itself. Most of the German immigrants to the United States arrived before World War I, and many arrived before 1871. The year 1871 seems like a sort of arbitrary date, until you know that the modern nation-state of Germany was founded in that year. Strictly speaking, many of the German immigrants to the US were not really German at all. They were Swiss, Bavarians, Alsatians, Westphalians, or one of the many other German states that existed before the country was united behind its most powerful kingdom, Prussia. Perhaps the most famous group of German immigrants in the United States are the Amish and Mennonites of Pennsylvania, erroneously called the Pennsylvania Dutch. They are not Dutch, as in from the Netherlands, Holland, but German, with Deutsch being the German word for themselves. Americans heard a dialect of German, and to them it sounded like Dutch, not Deutsch, as one might pronounce the name phonetically. As you may know, the Amish and Mennonites, Amish is derived from early leader Jacob Amann of Switzerland, and Mennonite comes from Menno Simons, the leader of that sect of the U.S., whether they live in Pennsylvania or elsewhere, came to the United States fleeing persecution in their home country, like many other people coming to North America. However, while the Pennsylvania Dutch were in a sense persecuted for their religion, it was one aspect of their religious beliefs that caused their persecution back in Europe, their belief in pacifism. They were opposed to war, and in the Germany of the late 17th to early 19th centuries, war was almost as common as breathing. The Amish and Mennonites refused to be drafted into the various armies of the states they lived in, sometimes resulting in very harsh sentences, both economic and physical, jail, beatings, etc. One way they protested and set themselves apart was the growing of beards without moustaches. Throughout the 17th to 19th centuries, the military men of Europe, particularly in the German states, wore very bushy and elaborate moustaches. The absence of hair under the nose was an obvious "up yours" to the authorities. What is now Germany was divided into many principalities, kingdoms, duchies, and bishoprics, governed by a bishop of the Catholic Church. Prior to Napoleon Bonaparte's invasions, there were, at times, nearly 300 different German entities. But in the time that concerns us, 1864, when the push for German unity behind Prussia began, to 1871, when unity was achieved under the Prussian royal house, the Hohenzollerns, there were 39 states. There were 4 more dominant German-speaking entities in the Middle Ages. These were the Austrian Empire, Prussia, Bavaria, and lastly, Hanover. The present-day British monarchy comes from the House of Hanover, starting with George I in 1714. Of these 4, the Prussians and Austrians were the strongest and most influential, and it is with the conflict of these 2 kingdoms that our story will begin.